Hello, everyone. You are welcome to today's session. And in today's session is going to be a very short one. Our main objective is to look at the solution to the assignment that was given on lesson 5 of algebraic expressions. Okay, so as you can see on your screens, okay, this was the assignment. This was the assignment, or this is the assignment. Okay, and remember, I am going to walk you through the solution and address all the major concerns, in fact, all the concerns that came from your various submissions. So please take and stay with me, give me your maximum attention, okay, whilst I help you deal with the solution to the question, or I walk you through the solution. And the solution also happens to be the marking scheme, so it will guide you to mark as well. Okay, and assign yourself marks. Okay, so without much ado, let's go and look at what we were supposed to do. As usual, I've told you that anytime questions are given, it means, okay, what do you have to do? Read the question, underline the salient part, if any. So after reading the question here, you are asked to factorize. Okay, so these are expressions that you are asked to factorize. So you don't have any salient, okay, part of the question that you are supposed to underline. Okay, after that, what do? You go and write solution. I've told you, please take note. If you want to write the questions, write all the questions. In fact, if you write factorize the following, if possible, you come and write solution. Hey, no, this is not a question. Factorize the following is not a question on its own. If you are supposed to add this, it's this and this that will make a question, this and this that makes the question complete. So take note. Without, okay, defactorize the following or this, okay, you know you are not having a full question to solve. So the two, you can't separate them and say that you have a question. Please take note. Okay, they are going together for your question to be complete. So if you are writing it, write everything. Otherwise, we are interested in only the solution. So give us what's the solution. Okay, so let's see. After writing the solution, I've told you questions are numbered because we usually want you to number your solution and number accordingly and appropriately. So here, when you are giving your solution numbers, you have to strictly go for the question numbers that you are providing, okay, the corresponding solutions to. So take note. Immediately you give your solution numbers that were not or are not exactly the same as what were given in the question or what are given in the question, you should know that you have big issues. You forfeit all your marks. And if the questions are not numbered, you don't number your solution as well. So take notes. Okay, let's just be the last time you all fail to number our solutions precisely and forfeit all the marks. Okay, so now what do we do? Solution. And after solution, so let me take you through the solution. So, okay, so this is the first one. We're giving after solution, you write a question number, you are providing a solution to the question number A. Okay, and I've told you, you extract what you are giving. This is the expression that you are giving. You don't write equal to, please. You are not giving equal to this. You are giving only this. So just extract what you have there. Your ability to extract that will be B1, a bonus mark sort of, okay, for me. Because it's just copy and paste. And if you can write this and get this marks, what other marks can you get? Then you move on to, okay, what are you are asked to factorize? Okay, so this is a quadratic expression. So for quadratic expression, if I'm asked to factorize, my concentration should be on, okay, the product of my A, which is the coefficient of S squared, and the C, which is, in this case, the constant, okay, 10. So the coefficient here is 1. And like I told you in lesson 5, concentrate on this. If the coefficient is 1, concentrate on your constant term, then an X term. So what do you do? We are looking at the number 3. So we are supposed to look for factors of 3. And factors of 3, we are looking at what? 3 and 1 or 1 and 3. This will be the two possible factors of 3. Okay, but you are looking for factors of 3, which when you multiply, you get 3, all right. But when you add, you get -1. So your factor pair must satisfy two conditions. The product should give you the 3, and the addition should give you -1, the coefficient of your x. But here, okay, obviously the product will give us 3. So if I have the two numbers whose product should give me a positive result, 3, then the numbers should all be positive, and I have another one which will be all be negative. So if all are positive, if I add, I will get positive 4. No, I want negative 1. If all are negative 2, if I add, I will get negative 4. So this tells us that you won't get any factor pair that if you add, you will get what? -1. Though the product will give you 3, one of the conditions satisfied. The other condition, which is -1, is not satisfied. So in this case, okay, you either conclude by right, maybe therefore, not possible or not factorable. So let me put therefore here, because every question you start with given and end with therefore. So you can equally write therefore here. Or better still, if you want to use the, what do you call it? The b squared minus 4ac test, you know, this is what your, if you consider this, you can see that a is equal to 1, b is equal to what? -1, and c is equal to what? 3. So if you do b squared will be -1 squared, okay, minus 4a ac. So 4, what is your a? A is 1. Okay, what is your c? Your c is 3. So -1 squared, okay, don't forget to put it in bracket, all your substitution. So that will give you 1. Then minus, okay, 4 times 1 times, so that will give you 12. And you know that this will end up giving you, so I'm looking at b squared minus 4ac, okay, which is equal to this. So this will end up giving you -11, and there is no negative number that is a perfect square. So that also will tell you that factorization will not be possible, okay, relative to this expression, okay, or yes, this expression is not factorable. So please take note of that. Okay, so if that is well understood, then I guess I can clear this, then take you to the question B, the second question. So please take note of that. If there are any questions, don't forget to uh, send me a comment via my YouTube okay, channel. So now let's move on to that of what? Of the B, the question B. So question B, this is what we have in terms of its solution. So solution is what you have here. So it means question A is what? 2 marks. You have 2 marks for that. Now let's look at question B. Question B2, we are given this quadratic expression. And I've told you, okay, I should have said that here anyway, but it wasn't necessary, or maybe I just decided not to say it, but I can say it here as well. Okay, so as usual, you write B, and you know, anytime you are moving from, okay, a minor question number to another minor question number, that's where you leave a space. So those of you who left spaces between your steps, I told you avoid doing that. It will come with a penalty, and I'll state that at the end of the video. The various penalties, especially those of you who decided not to heed. Okay, unfortunately, you may have to learn your lessons the better way. All right, so now you extract given, and you can choose not to write given, but this expression that you are asked to factorize must be extracted, and you don't write equal to. Please take note. Okay, because you only extract what you have, what you were given, there is no equal to there. So extract this. Okay, now before I start any factorization, I ask myself, do I have a common number that I can bring out, which is what we call a common numerical factor, a common variable that I can, or variables that I can bring out, common variable or variable factor? Okay, no. So at this point, a quadratic, what do you call it? Expression. So for quadratic expressions, okay, if my answers to common number that can be brought out, common variable that can be brought out is no, then what do I do? Okay, I multiply the coefficient of my s squared. In this case, my a is not 1, so I cannot concentrate on only this. I multiply this and this. So that will give me 9 times what? Times 4. And 9 times 4, we all know will give us what? 36. So it means we are supposed to go and look for factor pair of what? Positive 36, which when you multiply, you get 36, positive 36, but when you add, you get what? 12. And obviously, you should know. So if I'm looking at 36, okay, the factor pair, I will get, okay, 1 to be 1 and 36. Okay, I will get what? 2 and 18, okay, there are and others, but okay, obviously we know that 6 and 6, okay, will give us what? If you sum, will give us 36. Okay, if we add this to be negative, would have considered negative, negative, because the product of two negative numbers will give you a positive result, which is your positive factor, your positive number that you have here, and the sum, okay, will give you, okay, a negative. But here we know we should concentrate on the positive one, because the set of possible pair of factors that will give us 12, okay, be it positive or negative, will be a situation where you have all of them to be positive or all of them to be negative. So if it's positive, that's when, okay, the sum will be positive. So in this case, I will know, I will relegate this one like I told you in the lesson 5. Okay, because the sum should give us a positive result, it means my numbers that I'm finding, my factor pair, each of them must be positive. So I will use that one to split this. Okay, so you extracting this will be B1. And you know, this is your first step. Okay, so this is your first step. So you start with equal to. If you started with implication, you are doomed from this point. It will be M0, A0, take note. So you write equal to here. Let me go and pick there so that you can see. So equal to, then you come and split this using your factors, and we settle on, okay, 6, positive 6, and positive 6. So you write 6, then you attach the variable here, which is x. Okay, then you write what 6 again and attach what your variable x. Okay, then you come and add the 4. Then at this point, you factorize, you have 4 terms. So you factorize by grouping, and that will be your next step, equal to. So when you factorize by grouping, then you take the first one. I've told you, don't use bracket to group. So those of you who use bracket to group, it will be M0, A0, provided you didn't do the grouping correctly. Okay, if you with this one, if you group this way with your brackets, okay, and you bring your brackets here, it will not be costly. But like I've told you, avoid using brackets to introduce your grouping or show your grouping, because it can be costly sometimes. So strictly go by that advice. So I can factor out 3. Okay, it's a common factor to 9 and 6, numerical factor. X is also a common factor here, so I can bring out the whole of 3x. Then I introduce my bracket. How do I get my 2 terms here? This one divided by what I took out, which will give me this. This one divided by what I took out, which will give me this. Then I come to my last, okay, 2 terms that I group to factorize. 2 is common to 6 and 4, a common numerical factor. I bring that one out, and I will be left with what 3x plus 2 also in bracket. The same explanation as to how I got this. So at this point, what do? I know that I have 2 terms, and each term contains what? A common binomial factor. So I can bring out that common binomial factor, and my second factor, how do I get that? It will be this one divided by what I took out. Okay, then this one also divided by what I took out to give me this, and it will be the same as what you have before each of the terms. So you put them in brackets with the appropriate sign. So at this point, if you conclude here, you won't get the score. Remember in the lesson 5, I told you that anytime you have x times x, you don't conclude with x times x. Okay, mathematically, maturely, we write the quantity squared. So in this case, our conclusion will be therefore whatever that we're asked to factorize will be equal to, because we can see a repeated factor. So your factor is repeated twice, so you write that one squared, because this times itself, which will give us this, okay, squared. Okay, so the total here for question B will be 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6, okay, marks for question B. Okay, I guess my explanation is clear. So now quickly, let's go and look at the solution to that of the C. Okay, it's similar to that of what? Of the B. So again, you write C, you leave a space, a line. Okay, then you come to C. Here, where you are solving for B, at no point should you leave, what do you call it, a line not attended to, because it is at no point here that we are moving from a sub question to another sub question. That's the only time we leave a line or two, but I said a line will be okay. Okay, so if you were drawing your conclusion and you left a line, like I said, I will come to the penalties, okay, to those who decided not to heed the advice and left lines, okay, in between their steps. In any case, each line that you leave in between your step, the penalty will be -half. So take note. In the class test, if you do that, it will be -1. Okay, because I've said this countless occasions. So C, then you extract. You can choose not to write the given again, but your expression here must be extracted, and that's exactly what I have here. So in the same way, okay, at normal, you ask yourself, a common number apart from one that I can bring out? No. A common variable, okay, the only variable here is x, but it's not common to all the terms. So I can't bring any variable, okay, factor out. So at this point, what do? I deal with it the normal way I deal with quadratic expression. I multiply the 4 and what? And the 9. Okay, again, and 4 times 9 will give us what? 36. Okay, so again, we are looking at what? 36. So we are supposed to look at the product of what? You are supposed to look at a factor pair of 36, whose product will give you 36, okay, and whose sum will give you minus 12 this time round. So the factor pair, you know that just as I said over here, we will get, okay, because the product should give you positive, you should know that all the factors should be positive or all the factors should be negative. At the back of your mind, you should know this. So the factor pair we can get, okay, like I said, 1 goes with 36. Okay, 2 goes with what? 18. Okay, so you can continue. Okay, what do you? 3 goes with what? 12. Am I right? Okay, so and what have you? But you know that the one that will satisfy will be 6. Okay, and 6. Okay, but remember, because the sum should give us what? Negative. Okay, it means the factor pair, okay, they should all be what? Negative. Okay, the sum, the product positive, the sum negative means, okay, the two factors that you have there, they should all be negative factor pair. So it means I'm going to use negative 6 to split this. Okay, and because it's a quadratic in x, okay, if you get your factors, if you are splitting, you attach the variable x to each of them. So it will be 4, you're equal to your first step, equal to, let me go for the laser. Okay, equal to, that's your first step, 4x squared, you write this and come and split this using the factor pair that you settled on. Okay, and the key is to get the right factor pair. That's why you can see that, okay, here you have M2. If this is wrong, you are doomed. So minus 6x minus 6x plus 9. Again, you come and factorize by grouping, the same explanation. If you take this first pair, and with this one, if you group, okay, using the brackets, you'll be doomed. Okay, so penalty will come. Immediately you showed your grouping and you grouped, okay, here with a negative out without changing the sign here to negative. It will be M0, A0 like I advised in lesson 5. So take note, avoid using bracket to group. You can always group mentally and factorize. So why do you subject yourself to this problem? Okay, so take first 2 factorize, that will give us this. Last 2 factorize, that will give us what we have here. Okay, so at this point, okay, we know we have a binomial where each term contains a binomial factor. So here, 2-term expression, each one having a common binomial factor 2x minus. So you can bring that one out, and your bracket here, you know, this one divided by what you took out, this one divided by what you took out, and you get what you have here. Or, like I said, better still, once you take this one out, whatever that you have there, before it, you put them together in brackets. Okay, so that gives you, at this point, and again, you cannot end here because you have a quantity multiplying itself. So in your conclusion, you bring the square. If you end here, you won't get the marks, okay, at this point. Okay, I guess my point is well made. Quickly, let's also go and look at the last, okay, question. Its solution. Okay, so before that, let me clear so that, okay, so let me clear what I have here. Okay, so that the work will be neat for us to, okay, say, or for me to say whatever that I'm supposed to say, and for you to also equally relate perfectly. So when you are moving from C to D, that's where you know you are moving from a sub question number to another sub question. So that's where you leave a line. Anywhere here, if you leave a line, you know, okay, you are going to be penalized. You cannot do that. So giving, okay, what do we have? Okay, this is the expression that you were asked to factorize. So you extract. You can see that this is a quadratic in 2 variables, x and y, xy. So that will help you know the variable that you need to attach to your factor pair that you will find. So in the same way here, what do? We multiply 36, which is the coefficient of x squared, Okay, because you are looking at this to be a quadratic in x, then this term becomes, the y term becomes a constant term, like I explained in the lesson 5. Okay, so the coefficient here will be 1. So again, you are going to look for factors of 36, which when you multiply, you get 36, and when you add, you get minus 12. So same as what we did here. So it will be minus 6, minus 6. By this time around, because the quadratic is in x and y, and you are splitting this, you write minus 6, then you attach your xy. Minus 6, you attach your xy. Unlike the other one, it was in terms of only x, what you were splitting. So you attached only x here. Now what you are splitting here will be xy, then plus y squared, the same thing. Okay, take the first two, factorize, last two, factorize, you end up getting this. So equal to each step, equal to. So at this point, okay, you know, okay, you are going through factorization by grouping. So you should appreciate how we got this. Same explanation for the first two, okay, to get this. Then after that, the same quantity multiplied itself. So we can't end here. In your conclusion, you write, okay, this one squared. So in all, okay, our total mass, so this one will be 3, 4, 5, so 6. And this also will be what? Will be 6. Okay, so 2, this is 6, this is 6, that is also 6. So in all, we are going to get a total of what? 20 what marks. So what you are supposed to do is, okay, the score that you had, indicate that on top of your first page over the total score. So if you had 20, write 20 over 20. The score that you had over the total, that's how you are supposed to, okay, write here. So score 20 over 20. If you had 18, write 18. Don't just write 18. Over 20 should come. Let us see your denominator. Okay, your total score, which happens to be your denominator. Take note. It should be boldly written on top of your first page. Okay, then you capture when you are capturing your first page, because you send me your marked version as well for me to go through. So when you capture the first page, okay, I mean where you have written this, make sure you capture this as well, and you should boldly write it there. Okay, so that it will boldly be seen, clearly be seen. Okay, at this point, okay, thank you very much. Or before I say that, I think I've told you the penalties. If you left spaces, any line that you left between your steps, you realize that you are not moving from a sub question to another sub question. That line will attract, each line will attract minus half. So you subtract the minus half from your scores that you had. Okay, the next time, okay, I will make the penalty or the punishment stiffer. So let's learn to do the right thing, especially now that we are being given constraints, okay, paper. Okay, so thank you very much for sticking and staying with me. God bless us all.